Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Voltron Green Lion with Pidge. The left arm of Voltron is here, bringing us one step closer to being able to build our very own massive Voltron. The Green Lion comes in the same styled window box packaging that we've seen all of the other lions come in so far. This one is the same size box as the Red Lion, this time including a nice earthy environment in the background. The back of that box shows us a look at the lion and his features, lets us know that Pidge is the driver of the Green Lion, and shows us where this lion will attach on the fully assembled Voltron. Now Pidge comes in a smaller green box by himself, with a window on the right hand side showcasing the figure and his key on the inside. To the left of the window is some great artwork of Pidge from the classic animated series. The back of his box gives us a look at the figure and lets us know that he is the pilot of the Green Lion. Let's go ahead and start things off by taking a look at the Pidge action figure. The figure is in the 3 3/4 inch scale, but Pidge is of course much shorter than the rest of the pilots, so this figure actually stands at about 2.5 inches tall or so. He's got a nice stocky build to him, making him the third pilot in the line with a unique body design. The paint job on this figure is nice and clean, featuring an all-white outfit with green trimming on the shoulders, boots, and gloves. Small details such as the patch on his left breast are very nicely done. He's also wearing a belt which has a gray blaster holstered on his right. Just like with the other pilots, the blaster is non-removable and is instead molded in place. I do still wish these guys had the option of holding their blasters, just so they had at least one weapon accessory. Then of course we come to Pidge's head sculpt, which is my favorite in the lineup so far. He's got that crazy, cartoon-accurate, anime-styled hair, complete with green headband. The glasses are part of the face sculpt, so they are non-removable. Overall, I feel this is probably the most accurate head sculpt we've seen so far. Alright, so Pidge is a little smaller than the other figures, but he's still built pretty much the same way as everybody else, which utilizes all of the same articulation that we've already seen in this line. So the head is able to turn both left and right. He does have ball hinge joints at the shoulders, allowing for up and down movement, forward-backwards movement. He has a single joint at the elbow. He does not have any swivels of any sort in the wrist or anything like that. The waist is able to turn both left and right. He's got nice hinge joints on the legs there, allowing for forward-backward movement and nice split motion. He's got single joint in the knee there, but then no other twists on the ankle or anything like that. He does have a twist above the knee, which is helpful. But you can see he's not probably super poseable, but he has a decent amount of articulation, and like I said, pretty much what we've already seen with the other figures in this line. Now he does, of course, include the interchangeable head feature. You can see I've got the helmeted head on him right here. In order to pop the head off, it just slides right off of the ball joint, the peg that is permanently attached to the figure. He just pops right off there, and it's just as easy as popping the new head on. It's nice and firm, gets a nice solid hold on there, so you don't have to worry about it falling off. There's no bobble. Everything functions very well with that. With the helmeted head, you'll notice that Pidge does not include the blast shield over his eyes. This is cartoon accurate, and I assume it's because the character is wearing glasses. Now, in case you're curious, each of the pegs on the figures are different sizes from one another, which means that swapping heads if you want to doesn't work too well. You can do it to an extent, which does make some really goofy looking figures, but it's worth noting that the heads don't really fit well on the incorrect bodies. Now, Pidge also includes a green key to his lion, which is very reminiscent of the vintage Panache Place figures. The key also doubles as a figure stand. And lastly, Pidge includes the long portion of the blade for the Collect and Connect blazing sword. You can't attach this piece to the handle that we've already formed from Lance and Hunk. We need another part of the hilt first. Alright guys, it's comparison time! Here's Pidge standing alongside the vintage Panache Place Pidge. The figures are nearly the same scale, but this really shows the difference in the two sculpts. Here he is alongside the Pidge from the Voltron 3rd Dimension toy line from Trendmasters, released in the 90s. There was a different uniform design for this line, so you can really see the difference between the two figures. And lastly, here he is alongside the Stealth Pidge from the same Trendmasters line. Alright, now let's take a look at the massive green lion. Now, if you already have the red lion, you pretty much know what to expect here. Since this is Voltron's other arm, the lion is built in the same style and scale as red. There are some design differences though. The green lion is more rounded, which you can see by the shape on his back. The colors are very bright, but just like all of the others, are very simple with no extra or intricate detailing. So the body is a solid bright green, while the legs are all a light gray, almost white in color. Now, I bring this up every time, but I do feel a more metallic silver would have looked nicer, much the way we've seen most of the other Voltron toys look in the past. But this white, light gray color is actually more cartoon accurate, and I think it's obvious that that's the direction Mattel is going with these toys. Another example of the cartoon accuracy is the lack of the number on his back, which again is something that was only present on the old toys, but not seen in the animated series. Alright, so now let's take a look at the green lion, the left arm of Voltron. Now, if you've got the red lion already, which if you're going to get this, I hope you have the red lion already, he is very similar in both size and style. So of course his articulation is pretty much exactly the same as what we saw with the red lion. So here's what we got. The head has a tilt on it, so you can tilt it both left and right. You can see it's got that real nice tight click going on. So it's very, very firm. It stays in place. It's nice and solid. The mouth does the same thing. You can open and close it. It's real tight there. The legs are able to move both forward and backwards, and you can hear how those are also clicking. They're solid. They can bend a little bit at the elbows, but you can see they've got that spring-loaded mechanism, so they don't actually stay bent. They do flip back into place. But then the ankle pieces on the paws are nice and posable, so that way you can flatten them out to get them to stand properly. Now the back legs, of course, the really only good way you can get them to stand up with the back legs is the straight up and down pose, because the knees do not bend back at all. They only are able to bend forward, but as you can see, they do have that spring mechanism in them that flips them forward automatically, so there's really not a lot of good posing you can do with those back legs. See, when I lift it up, it flips back down. So you can get it outwards. So one thing that is cool is you can actually put the back legs outwards, you can put the front legs forwards, get the paws out, and you got that really nice flying through space pose going on with your green lion. So that is pretty sweet. I do like that. Now, the tail piece up at the top has one hinge up here, but it is spring-loaded, so you can flip it, and then it actually is double-jointed in the middle there. But again, even though it's posable and is able to fold up, it's all spring-loaded, and that's all because of the action feature that's built into it. And then last, he has a twist at his midsection, only going left and right. So this actually will function as Voltron's elbow. So let's fold up the lion so you can see what he looks like when he's changed into Voltron's arm. So the legs just fold up and they snap on and snap into place just like that. They just kind of click when you fold them up, and the back legs do the exact same thing. You just fold them upwards, fold the back legs down, and they click into place. Now, if you've got any of the other ones, you're no stranger to how that all works with the action feature and everything. As you saw just now, they do have a tendency to pop out of place because of that spring action. So sometimes you do have to snap them back up. And then the tail here, you can lift up the little door right here on the back, and then the tail just kind of folds up on the inside and it covers it up. And we've got ourselves legs popping out. That's what we've got. We've got ourselves the left arm of Voltron. Now he's got this is the peg piece that folds down. That's actually going to plug into the black line when we get him to make the arm. Of course, like I said, this is the elbow right here. So it bends. There is no swivel, so you're not going to have any kind of bicep cuts or anything like that with Voltron, unfortunately. His arm's only going to be able to go up and down. Now, you can already see, just by what's going on here, potential problems with this. One of my big fears, and I've reiterated this in every one of these videos, is that when we get Voltron put together, we're going to have to worry about these legs constantly popping up because of that spring-loaded feature. And you saw that just while I was bending the arms there, the legs are popping out. So that's definitely something that we're probably going to have to worry about when we're playing around with the fully formed Voltron. Now, that all happens because there is an action feature to auto-change him back into the lion mode. So you have one button on the back here, and when you press it, it makes the back leg spring downwards. And then there's another button underneath. When you press that, it makes the front leg spring downwards. Then when you lift up that trap door on his backside again, the tail flips outwards. So we've got that action feature. We've seen it on Red Lion. We've seen it on Yellow Lion. I still think it's kind of weird that we have action features to auto-transform them back into lions. I feel like it's unnecessary, and again, my biggest fear is that it's going to cause problems with the legs popping out when he's in Voltron mode. So, there you go. Now, last thing I want to do, I want to bring up the Red Lion here so you can see them side by side. We got Voltron's right and left arm. You can see the scale is pretty much exactly the same, but there are some stylistic differences between them. The shapes of the head are different. Of course, the Green Lion has always been more rounder, while the Red Lion's more square and bulky. You can see the differences there. The design in the body on the doors on the top here, you got the more rounded of the Green Lion, while the Red Lion is more squared off. But otherwise, their articulation, their transformations, everything like that are identical to each other. The Green Lion does include an accessory in the form of his mouth dagger. There are two small notches that are meant for his teeth to grip. Snapping his jaw over the dagger actually provides for a pretty firm grip of the weapon. The weapon's made of a very solid plastic, so there's not a lot of pliability to it, and it looks really cool. And I'm still very happy that the Lions are including their weapons. Now, of course, you do have the ability to open up the cockpit so that your Pidge figure can pilot. The key that came with Pidge can be used to open up the cockpit door by pushing down on the small button on the top. However, it's not necessary to use the key to open it. Green Lion's cockpit is actually a bit loose, and it's very easy to open it without even pressing down on the top. The inside of the cockpit is all that same light gray color and has a seat for Pidge to sit in, as well as some stickers that look like the control panels on the inside. Once you get Pidge fully seated on the inside, you can close up the doors over him, and you don't have to worry about his head scraping or anything like that. There's plenty of room for him on the inside, and the cockpit doors can completely shut while he's in there. Alright guys, it's comparison time! Let's take a look at the Green Lion with a bunch of other Green Lion releases from the past. First up is the Panache Place version from the 80s. This one also allowed for the figures to sit inside the cockpit just like this new one, but you can see that there is a huge design difference between the two. Next up is the Trendmasters Green Lion, which is much smaller in scale, and even has an opening hatch on the top with a tiny Pidge figure on the inside. But again, you can see the similarities and differences between the two sculpts. And lastly, here he is with the Toonami Green Lion from the masterpiece Voltron. This is actually my favorite version, featuring quite a bit of detail and articulation. So this shows you the difference in design and the big difference in scale between these two. We're 3 lions in and getting closer and closer to building that massive Voltron. The Green Lion and Pidge are pretty much exactly what we've come to expect in this line, so if you have the other lions already released, you pretty much know exactly what you're getting here. That means that I do still have the same nitpicks, specifically with the spring-loaded action feature that I personally feel is completely unnecessary. I do like the overall design of the lion and the action figure itself, and it's really great pairing them up with some of the vintage things like the Castle of Lions playset. They just seem to fit in so well with it. But one thing is for sure, the anticipation building up for the fully formed Voltron is really starting to get to me. I just cannot wait to put that bad boy together. The Green Lion with Pidge will be available on MattyCollector.com on June 15th, 2012, and is part of the Club Lion Force subscription. Until next time,